Hey everyone, welcome to our high level masterclass. If you are just now tuning in, maybe you saw some events and reminders and you had this on your news feed and it finally showed up. Well, first of all, we just want to say hello. I have Jackson here and we are getting ready to do one of our master classes. So we have different segments in our ecosystem. We have our 5-day challenges, 3-day workshops, and podcasts, but we also do something unique called the master classes. We spend about an hour powering through a couple of cool things. And today I have a very special guest. I'm going to read out the formal introduction here, even though I've known you for so long. So for those of you that don't know Jackson by chance, Jackson Chen is the founder of two companies called ACR365 and Chatwise AI. These are two innovative SaaS platforms now serving over 400 plus local gyms and 50 plus small to medium sized enterprise businesses across Australia. With a journey that began as a professional golfer, Jackson transitioned into the fitness industry as a personal trainer, gym owner, and expanded from there. Now, the real world insights that he had in that world led him to develop solutions that bridge the gap between gym CRM and automations, and of course, all the cool things in AI. Jackson, thanks for saying yes to our masterclass, and I'm excited for this.
Oh, Paulson, so glad to be here. I mean, that was such a great intro. I couldn't do it better myself.
Well, I also skip like rest of the half of the bio here so we don't waste any extra time. And I'm sure you'll go further in your story, but before we go any further, like and get started into the masterclass, I know we have slides and a couple of cool things that we're gonna work through.
Mm.
What's the Jackson Chen story? Like, how did you get into digital entrepreneurship?
Wow, that's a really good question because like I alluded to earlier, my starting profession was actually a golf professional. So I played professional golf by trade, and I taught and traveled for like 12 years of my early part of my career, and I think from there I started systematically going into different kinds of business with probably 10 different multiple industries, and probably the last 5 6 years got into the digital world because funny enough COVID actually forced me into the digital world. So I was a gym owner, I was a personal trainer, everything was brick and mortar. The big COVID came around and I was forced into a digital space, and it was like, okay, let's give this a crack. And I really loved it. I really enjoyed the freedom I was able to provide, and found HighLevel at the same time. It was like, this has just changed the way I operate and the way I do business. And it was just like a whole different world for me. It was just very exciting, and really wanted to expand. And now 5 years in, couldn't be happier.
Well, AI has changed quite a bit, and it's going pretty fast, right? Every single, 6 weeks to 6 months, you're seeing huge transitions. So with that being said, I think one of the most valuable things that entrepreneurs will take away from this masterclass is the idea of converting social leads with high level AI agents.
Mm.
Um, First of all, what does that mean for those that are watching and they're brand new to the world of high
Yeah.
level? They're brand new to the world of AI as well before we go into our slides.
Well, I think first of all, I think AI is moving super fast. And another area I'm also noticing, there's a massive shift or push towards brand, or towards that initial engagement, like, building that trust, even heavier than ever before. Um, like, so much content's been pushed out for people just to be seen, to be heard, to be recognized. And this whole concept of Facebook used to be a place where you connect with friends. Like, it hasn't been like that for many years. Instagram's the same thing. It's that landscape of thinking social media is not like what it was. It's really about how can you be seen in that space, in from a business perspective, and people are checking you out well before they actually want to buy anything from you. They're seeing your content, they're seeing who you are, they're seeing what you do. And the whole idea of being able to bring social media comments becoming clients using the power of AI is all about connecting dots between how many people are engaging with you, first of all, and how quick can you engage with them back. And I think that's I think that's the biggest gap I'm seeing, that's able to really bridge the gap between bringing your comments or your audience into a space, into a meaningful conversation, and then to an actual sales call and converting into paying clients. I think that's where I'm seeing a massive shift at the moment.
Yeah, and the other day I was talking to one of my younger cousins, and she was telling me how she prefers to talk to an AI agent of some kind because she doesn't have to worry about emotionality, being rude, asking the wrong questions, timing of conversations. She's just like, I can just ask anything with this thing, and sometimes I feel a bit more freedom in these
Yeah,
interactions. So there's kind of a shift happening.
massive, 100%. I think there's definitely a real shift happening. I mean, so many of these conversation that, and I ran a team in the past where we work with VAs. So, and they were trained with a particular script that they follow, and they'll just cut and paste. They'll look at the conversation and cut and paste, and that's what they used to do. And what we found that over a period of time is that sometimes you get really good VAs, they're very intuitive. Sometimes you get not so good ones, and then they'll just don't follow the conversation and don't quite follow the script. And with the development of the AI, what it does is that it can follow the script, but can also be very intuitive to the conversation. And that's what the biggest difference is, that we have replaced VAs from organizations that they were formerly employing 3 or 4 VAs in DMs, now to an AI agent that was able to perform not only better but more consistent, because
Right.
you give them the framework they need to work in, and it just continue to work in that way without fail.
I love that. So, Jackson, as you pull up your slides and we go right into the masterclass here, for those that are watching, I have an open-ended question for you.
Mm.
Regardless of where you are in the journey, yes or no in the comments below, have you started implementing some sort of AI components to your business? Maybe it's an agent, maybe it's follow up, maybe it's funnels, AI, maybe it's content with AI, maybe it's copywriting, maybe it's social clips and like just videography and photography. Like, where have you already started implementing AI? I would love to kind of read through these comments for those of you that are watching live and tell us what are you thinking, and as we interact with you, we want to make sure we drop as much value as possible. So, Jackson, without any further ado, let's go ahead and have you share your slides and
Hmm.
let's go through our original presentation so that way we can keep our conversation a bit more constructed and get right through it.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, let's dive into it. I'm going to share my screen here. I want to make sure that everyone can see that, from comments to clients. That's kind of my
Perfect.
little intro. And one of the things that, oh, there's a little slide here, just making sure that people understand that what I talk about here, sometimes this example I may say, may or may not be what you can get from the results, but you want to make sure you're able to go do the work and then and create the results you're looking for. But here's what I want to really just dive into straight into here about the truth about social media. And this is an interesting fact, is that 97% of the leads on social media never get followed up. That means that comments, DMs, any kind of conversation that you may have in your social profile, they just don't get followed up, because we're not in that mind frame of being able to continue conversing with them actively. Because as marketers, and most people that I've spoken with over a period of time, has always been with direct offers. So it's always about click to learn more, do something, and they opt in, and they put their names and details or put their email. The comments, even though it has been spoken about many times, but it still doesn't get that same sort of um, I guess examination, or you can say attention, it pro deserves. Yet it is so much can be done when if you can turn those comments into paying clients. What would that do for your business? I mean, it's such a massive difference. And I'll give an example later on, Travis. I'll go through and just how we have seen different businesses that I've worked with, and how their primary source of leads have been on the Facebook profile, Instagram profiles, based on comments and DMs. That's all they do. And this is not to say that we don't run ads, just a different strategy than just a direct offer to say opt in and then leave a name and details. They want comments, they want conversation to begin with to move it into a client. And as you alluded to a little bit early on before, that's how I started my business. And one thing I do want to say is that I don't come from a marketing background. And in fact, I've never run a marketing agency. All my 5 years has always been about businesses, systems, and dive deep into business operation on the back end, managing leads coming in. We work with people of what they're doing with leads coming in and how can we optimize our process, how can we look at different opportunities and look at how we can give them places that can make money, save them time, and streamline the whole entire system. So my model is a little bit different. Like I know a lot of people watching this maybe coming from the perspective of I'm a marketing agency, I want to do marketing, I generate leads. Just perfectly upfront, that's not my forte. Like I'm more about, okay, look at the business as a whole and how can we optimize the system and process and make sure when you put these hard-earned dollars into leads and ads or comments or efforts, you're able to convert them into an actual paying client. Okay, so comments are gold. It's done as compliments. And in your example, for giving an example, you're going to see these comments in your Facebook post. They'll ask you how much it is. I need this, emojis. There's so many things that they will actually do on your Facebook profile or Instagram profile. Every one of those things, every one of those comments is a lead, is a potential, is a opportunity to converse with somebody. It's someone that's engaging with your business. So when you really think about it, you can break it into several different kinds of comments. It can be like a little bit curious, skeptical, maybe critical, whatever. But people looking for prices, but those are still comments. And you're going to get those things along the way in your business. And every business you're working with or business, maybe for your own business, you're going to get these. And then I think we need to pay some attention to what's actually happening on your profiles to see what we can do and how can we convert them into a potential client or a paying client, and maybe help your clients that have got a social presence to understand that just paying for leads isn't just the only way you can generate an income. Their social presence and the comments and how they strategically use different things to actually create comments, engagement is also a great way of making sure it can generate income, lead as well too. So your comments are full of bias. Don't ignore them. It's because it's a manual work. And this is a great thing about what we're going to be talking about today is that, yes, it used to be very manual, used to be, and I think this is one of the reasons why people don't do it is because it is extremely, extremely labor intensive to reply to comments, extremely intensive to reply to DMs all the time. We used to have teams of VAs that would comment or write DMs like in 100 or 200 on a daily basis. That was their KPI to have those conversations. That's not an easy task for a business owner to try and manage to make sure they hit those KPIs to try and create that kind of conversation. When you couple that kind of KPI with AI, it's a breeze. Like, it's like 200. Now let's go 500. No problems. In fact, I think the reason why you reached out to me because one of my posts actually said one of our AI agents has 6,000 conversations and booked 130 appointments in a
Yeah,
week.
what's funny is I was just thinking I have it pulled up. I have it
Yeah,
pulled up on my phone, and
yeah,
on June 19th, you said, "Hey, we have one AI agent who's handling 6,000 plus conversations, 95 appointments in the last 3 days,
yeah,
30 hours saved," and you said, "Let that sink in."
yeah.
And well, for me, I'm just like, well, there's a hard way to do this, and there's an easy way to do this, and it's not, you know, the whole thing is probably in the setup and the system around it.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. It's all to do, and I think when we talk to businesses, and a lot of people will get a little bit stuck on this part because they don't tend to want. It sounds really strange. Like they get to a point in the business where having more leads became more of a headache than joy because the back end system wasn't set up in the way it needs to be able to handle more volume. And that's why I always finding it a lot of interesting. Like, well, what can we do in the back end to ensure that we have the right system set up, we have the right processes set up, we have the right structure set up, so that they don't feel the pain of putting extra 10, 15 leads into their funnel. And when they get to a point where the system is optimized, they can go, well, hang on, I got an extra 10, 15 hours back in my week. Let's put an extra 30 leads into the funnel so I can actually handle the better conversions. And because we work with gym owners a lot, and time is usually a bit of an essence for them, they find it difficult to try and get to the leads. So the biggest issue is always, I can't handle any more leads because I don't get back to them. I'm just burning dollars. And I think this will resonate with a lot of different businesses out there. Like, they get to a point where it's like, I've got too many leads. I cannot handle anymore because I'm not able to get to them in time. I cannot answer them in time. I've got all these messages coming through. I've got all these other customers I need to serve. I cannot possibly keep taking any more leads, which means that they're stuck in a bit of a loop where you're not getting enough leads to get the conversion you're looking for. You're not getting the growth you're looking for. So it's a bit of a catch-22. So this is why this is such an important part where, as we're going through this, hopefully people are starting to understand is that a system is such an important part of you being able to not only grow, but helping businesses grow. You put a right system in place, a right structure in place, it will give them the comfort in saying, I can handle 10 more extra clients or 10 more extra, 20 extra leads without, losing my hair or like figuring out, where all the leads going. And I think this is where I find a lot of joy in being able to, be able to create something like that.
And we have this, you know, mm, we have this impression that when you think of building an AI system, it's complicated and it's just like this
Mm.
big, mountain. And is that the way people should feel about it, or do you feel like it's simply just either a lack of knowledge of awareness, or it's a lot more simpler than what it is?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think definitely a lack of knowledge is part of it. And I think people think you have to create these great big plans of how AI can work. And the reality is, what I'm going to show you very soon is that, well, as we go through this, that all we have done in this particular case was a very, very, very simple structure of a comment on a post or reel or something, and it will have a trigger that DMs them, and usually starting with an engaging question, and then that converts them into an appointment. And that's really it. There wasn't anything long, complicated. There wasn't like 70 different, switches in there somewhere. It's like a very linear type of conversation. It was just like, this is what's happening. And all they did was just creating more content to create more engagement. And this is it. This is a system where comment turn into a conversation turn into an appointment, because that conversation is what creates trust and what creates a little bit more interest for them to continue in the next part, which is the sales journey of getting a sales call or book an appointment or coming to a session or whatever you want to do. And that's essentially where we're seeing a bit of a funnel shift, because I think people are becoming a lot smarter. The consumers are becoming smarter in the way they buy, right? I remember when I was running my gym 5 years ago, when we had HighLevel at the time, we can have an automation in place, we'll have a calendar in place, and we'll run a Facebook ad. It will go to a calendar link and a book. And that was great. Like, it was fantastic. Like, the automation will go out, they'll get a message going, hey, book a call, find a bit more about what we're doing. And I'll get 7 call over the weekend, come on Monday, booked in, we can convert them. That's changing. I don't know. I know that's what people are seeing in this space. We're seeing a change in that space where you can do the same automations and it can still work, but people are being a lot more aware of how they buy and when they buy and how they do things. And they want to have a little bit of conversation, that a little bit of engagement before they make that commitment to speak to somebody. And that's a real shift we're seeing at the moment, is that most leads coming in are not booking into a call straight away. But when they do book in, a no-show rate is like skyrocketing, like 60% or something like that. And when people have opted into a comment or ad or something like that, and they have a quick conversation with someone, in this case, an AI agent, and then they book a call, they'll stay for the call until 80%. show rate. It dramatically improves the way, not only the quality of the leads, but improves the conversion at the end of it, because they just have that little bit of engagement really helps them to understand a bit more of where they're at and what the business is about, and really prompting them through emotional questions and make them to go, okay, yep, I'm happy to investigate a little bit further. And I think that's where we're seeing the massive shift in that system process. It's not just, hey, thanks for opting in, book a call, and we can find out if we'll fit, if it's the right fit for you. People are wanting that little bit of engagement, and that really helps in the conversion rate. Um,
Jackson, I got a
so
question for you as we go
yes,
diving into this. If I am
mm,
brand new to the world of social media or digital
yep,
marketing, or maybe I'm a small business owner that, kind of new on the AI front and social media, um, how do I create social engagement to begin with? Like, are there certain types of posts that you rhythmically plan to create those comments, or are you generically just spreading the net wide and just kind of fielding certain posts that have comments? Like, or do you have a planned attack, in some sense?
yeah, that's a really great question. Like I said earlier on, I'm not a fantastic marketer. We do know what we do, and I know what our clients do really, really well. I'm sure there'll be other people that can do this very, very well, better than I can. But what I can say is that what people want to know, want to see on your profiles are things they can resonate with. So it's all about what is it that you're trying to provide as a service, and what are their pain points? What are some of the things they are wanting to look for, whether it be something they need to solve, could be something they need to, they want more information about, maybe an objection that you may have heard along your sales process you want to pre-handle. Um, so what we tend to find people have is that they maybe have 6 or 7 or 8 different type of resources, like they can be really handful, and we tend to put them into a structured format. So you may have certain keywords, which we'll talk about in a minute, like to certain keywords that people can opt into, and then you can monitor how that process. So at first, you will have to go a little bit wide, but I will tend to, when I tend to talk to people about putting their structure in places, I talk about 3 pain points, 3 solutions, and three different type of contents. So that will give you potentially 9 pieces of content you can put out there that will give you that sort of structure of, these are my the 3 pain points that people are dealing with. These are my 3 solutions of each of those pain points. Now you've got yourself a little piece of structure in the way people can look at what you're doing, and now you can create a resource to solve those problems. And those comments is what drives those engagement, because one of my clients, he focuses on cortisol levels. So he's create all these content around cortisol, and their keyword is cortisol. So he's got all these different kinds of resources, but his content is driven around that. So people are coming on here. You just need to think about, okay, first of all, who are my clients? That's the first part. And what are they struggling with? And how can I solve that particular problem? And I think
Yeah,
that's usually a really good structure to work with.
I love that. So one thing I would also agree with you is the we're in the age of the informed buyer, right?
Yeah,
And I keep saying that to my team members and our marketing team behind the scenes. I'm like, 2 years ago, we would have to educate the market before they would
yeah,
jump into an offer. Today, we've shifted into everybody really understands your offer and they're saying no or
yeah,
yes quickly, right? And we're also
100%,
seeing like a shrink in the sales cycle timing because of that as well. Um,
100%.
and is that what you're seeing in your world as well?
Yeah, 100%. Definitely. I mean, it's people have just become a lot smarter, and then I think you're really losing out in this space if you're not providing educational stuff, or at least informing your potential buyers, because all we're looking to do in the moment is continue to be in their face, and showcasing what we do, like what we're doing here, right? We will want to be showing people what is possible, and educating people what are the possibilities in terms of being able to convert a particular group of people into clients. So
I love that. Those of you that are watching, give us the word education in the comments if you feel like it'll help your business if you put out a lot of education around your offers. I'm just kind of
mm,
curious of what you feel about content in general, specifically around your offers. So, Jackson, let's keep going. I know we got a lot to
yeah, that's
cover.
what's that. Yeah, we do a little bit. That's okay. And this that leads exactly to here. And then this is what we've got here is a value driven funnel now. Value, value, value offer. Like you got to put a lot of education, a lot of value out there, and a lot of things before you make an offer. Like you just cannot just go out and saying buy, 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 buy because people are like, well, who are you? No, this and this is not new, but but you just need to understand that in this day and age, like people are seeing a lot of different products, a lot of different content, a lot of different things out there. If you're not being seen, they don't know you, and that's just a truth. It's just they need to be. You need to be seen to be known. And the common problem that we find that people don't do that is because lack of time and lack of system. They don't have time to do it. They always tell me, "Oh, I don't have time to do it. I don't have time to do, answer all those comments. I don't want to do messenger ads because I've got to sit there all day or, I cannot answer all those messages." And that's the very common thing. I'd rather just, get a lead, get phone number, emails. I can email them, text them, whatever. But the thing is that the reality is people lack time, and time equates to system. You've got systems, you give you time back, which means that you can actually do more with what you have. And that's what I want to dive into a bit more. And this is one of the things we want to say here. Likes are cool, but bookings pay bills. You can get a lot of likes. It's great. They may go viral. You make it feel good. But if you're not turning them into bookings and not paying bills, all right. So just remember that you gotta when you do content, if you got likes, you got followers, you got comments, make sure you convert them. Find a way to convert it into paying bills. And a lot of things we cover here, like making sure your comments are personal replies. Again, AI can do that. Your DMs, a qualified question where you've got to be an AI VA hybrid if you wanted to, but in our case, it's all AI driven where you've got some qualification questions, convert them into a paying client, and then we integrate HighLevel with direct bookings into a calendar that gives you notifications, gives you the reminders, all the things you need directly into a HighLevel platform that is all seamless. And I think that's one thing that I love about HighLevel is that it's just everything in one. There's no this duct taping things together. Like you've got the DM comments in there, you've got the workflows in there, you've got the AI in there. It's all in there. You've got the calendars in there natively. You can book them into the calendar directly. So when you present that into your business or go to a client of yours when you're doing marketing, you basically can say something, well, we're going to run leads, we're going to drive traffic to your Facebook page, we're going to drive views on your content, and then we can drive bookings from those comments, and you can drive because in all in one platform. They don't have to go around looking for 5 different subscriptions to do the same thing. So this is really, really cool. So I think these are the things that we've spoken about. I do want to allude to this part here because this is what triggered this whole conversation. Is that the one thing that this particular client did really well is that they had a very, very, very niche audience, and they had a very good audience size. So it wasn't just a very broad Facebook page. And that's why, just going back to again what we've just spoken about early on, be clear about who you want to be working with and be clear about what their real pain points are. Because the deeper you can go down that particular path, the better it is for you to be able to create the content and have the right audience in your group, whether it be Instagram or Facebook. And when you have that, people can see your work and can see your content, and they will comment. And like in this particular page, in this particular case, they will probably get up to maybe like probably about, I would say, anything between 40 to 50 comments on every single post they post on their Facebook. And it's nothing crazy. It's just literally a video, a reel, and you just had little drop points in there about what the pain points are again and what how they can solve it, and then a call to action saying keyword cortisol, and then everything kicks into place on the back end. And the result from that particular page on running this particular AI, implementing it, was 130 booked calls off the back of this 1 week campaign. We just ran a bit of a test and implemented it, and it started with very slowly, and all of a sudden, like a Tuesday, we implemented it, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it was booked out. Like the
Mm.
whole day, 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, booked out. And I said, let's just pause it for a minute, because they're booking into the weekends, and they're starting to book into Monday and Tuesdays. So we paused it, and we then restarted again, and then booked out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday again. It was crazy just seeing the comments coming through. It was nuts. I was like, so many conversation. It was just scrolling through 6,000 conversation. It was just like incredible. And the craziest part was that there was no VAs involved. It was all AI driven, all booked by the AI, and we're just one after another, which is incredible. So that is what's possible, and the amount of time that was able to be saved is crazy. So I think this is something that, like I alluded to. You've got reels that we're using. They've got stories. They because you create reels on your Facebook post. The comments can create a trigger. At the same time, you can use stories that can have call of action. So, and at the same time, you can have feeds. So there are three different things. You may have seen different kinds of posts that ask you to comment below. Again, these are just things that you can do to create that engagement, right? And video is a great way of doing so, because people want to see your face, want to see what you do. And by doing that, you can create these engaging type posts in reel form, story form, and post form. And we usually have a keyword in there, which I'll show you how we build this out in a minute. And then once they do that, they're going to have go into an AI engagement, conversing them, and then converse with them with a very short format, and then convert it into an appointment, and you can take over and sell them into your services. And this is what you were saying, that comment responses, simple in a very simple funnel, big wins. You don't have to go crazy with a crazy type of funnels. It's a very simple process, and if you get this right, the only thing you need to worry about is, how do we create better content? How can we create better targeted content that can feed them into this system? Okay, so I think I'm going to share my other screen, and I'm going to go in a bit of a build and walk through what we've built into our high level and how it's been triggered, and how we might even do a live demo, and how you can see the way it reacts in
That'd
the
be awesome.
whole
Yeah.
process. All right, this is, like I said, this is a very, very simple workflow. I want to just walk through it, and then I'll just show you how it's been done. So like I alluded to, the way we trigger this particular workflow, we have two different triggers in place, and we have a custom reply into a messenger. So essentially, you can go into a DM, go to a story, or go to the Facebook page. They can DM or write a message or phrase in there that contains a particular keyword, and that is going to automatically put them into this particular workflow. At the same time, you can also have a comment on the post. In our case, I've got a demo page at the moment. It's called Fitness Online, and we are just tracking all the published posts on there. So every single post on there has an intent, and we all have some sort of call to action, and we're looking for particular keywords and phrases in there. So same thing, health check, consult, that is going to be something that will bring that person into this particular workflow. And then as we go down to this path here, what we've done here is that we wanted to separate into which part of, or which trigger did they come from. Was it a reply? Was it a comment? Because we're going to have slightly different engagements with them. Because if it's a comment, it's going to be a little bit different. If it's going to be a direct message with a keyword, it's going to be a little bit different. And this is where we split that particular path in the workflow to ensure that if they do come from a comment on the post, okay, that's a comment on the post, I like to look for prior engagement. Is it the very first time they commented, or is it something they commented in the past? And we actually I actually like to have that, so we can have slightly again, this one was saying about being personalized. You can actually see that this person is the very, very first time engaging with you, or may have engaged with the past. So you're now able to go different pathways by saying, okay, if this is the very first time they've spoken to you or made a comment, I want to tag them as a prior engagement, and now I can now reply to them on the comments that they posted, which I'm going to do a live demonstration in a minute. It will say, check your DM, and thanks for showing interest. Please check your DM. You can add different variations. Again, this is how you can start to create different kinds of responses based on what you actually posted. Okay, so this is how you can really customize. So anyone sort of watching this haven't done any kind of automation, anything like this before, one thing I would definitely recommend doing is that really map out your whole client journey and how they come into your workflow and what they do, what you want them to receive, and then create different variations so you can give it that personalized approach or personalized feel when they see these comments, right? Then as you go all the way down and just hits a little spot, and all we got here is a little DM. They'll say, hey, I saw your comment on my video. So glad you reached out. Before I comment anything, mind if I ask you a few questions? This message here is the key here. What we spend a lot of our time on is actually trying out different messages here to get a response back. Okay. Long gone are the times where you write a comment and thanks for commenting on video, or thanks for your interest. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I'll contact you. We want to put a question in here, or put a sentence in here that prompts or evoke a response, because that the moment they respond, the AI is going to take over. The AI will take over the conversation. The AI will take over the questions all the way through to the end of the objective, which is converting them into booking an appointment. Something that we do in the AI in the back end, we provide knowledge bases, we provide a lot of information about your business, allows them to answer anything they want. But the key here is when you're building automation is that firstly, you want to make sure you have the triggers. So you want to know where they're coming in from. Okay, making sure you got the right keywords and information in there. Some people may want to provide a link if they wanted to say, thank you for the comment. Here's the resource that you would like to have. Give them a link. They can give them a free resource. And what I will do in that particular case is I will do something very similar to this. I'll give you a few seconds wait, or maybe like a 10 minutes wait. May say something along the lines of, how did you find out? What do you think of that resource? Again, it's all about engaging questions so they will reply and let the AI take over in the whole process. Okay.
And Jackson, why is that engagement so important versus just throwing the resource at them?
Oh, it's absolute key, because that reply is the beginning of them bringing them into your AI ecosystem.
Got
And the moment they come into your ecosystem, now the AI can follow them up. They can answer questions. They can converse with them. This is the part where we spend a lot of time on to make sure that whatever you do, this is probably going to be spent most of the time in. Okay, if I can get a 30%, 40% engagement rate, I know off the back of that conversation, most of the time I'm going to get about 30, 40% booking. Okay. Which means that if I can improve my engagement rate by 10, 15%, that dramatically improves my back end in how many appointments I can book, which conversely can equate to how many conversations or leads I can drive into this funnel. So that's why we spend so much time making sure that is the once you get it right, I'm getting about 20, 30%, 40%, 50% engagement. That's kind of like a number we're looking for to go, yeah, that's great. That message is working. Then we just start looking at fine tuning the process on the back, making sure it's booking, and then we can start looking at how many more comments and funnels and leads we can drive into that post. Because even though we're talking about organic strategies here, don't forget you can drive video views to your post, right? So don't forget that, because we may not be driving a direct offer like a lead ad, or driving a direct offer for a lead form, but you can drive video views for this post that's working really well for them to make a comment, which again converts and then relates becomes a lead. So and what we find that video view traffic is actually a lot cheaper compared to a direct offer lead form because it just and you get into a bigger audience and there's so many other things as you get into it like and you can actually start to do retargeting and all that kinds of stuff when it comes to video views. So there's a lot of things you can do on the back of it off this organic strategy. um,
Makes sense.
but the important part is making sure you get that engagement back. Once you get that right, you can start playing around with whatever you want to do in terms of driving more traffic to it. But
Awesome.
that's pretty much it, And this is the system. Like this is the system of DMs, keywords, quick engagement, making sure they engage, and then once they engage, you put it into an AI agent. And I'm going to do a quick demo here so people can see what actually happens. Let me see. I'm going to go to my page and I'm going to share my Facebook page. And I've got a page pulled up before. So here's I've got a little page up here. That's what I've connected to. And you may see posts like this, or you may see videos, you may see reels. I'm going to just go in, simply say like. I'm going to type in health check. This is what people will do. And by doing that, that is going to now put a little trigger in place. And I'm going to, let's see, I can go into another screen that hopefully I can show on the other screen. There you go. If you go back into here, if I go into enrollment history, you're going to now see I have got a person that has been pulled into this particular step straight away. And you're going to see that person is now in the workflow in here. If I go back to my other screen, you're now going to be able to see that we have now hopefully got a reply back on the conversations. There we go. Bam, right there. Straight away, the comment has come back, and now I can go, yep. I can go, yep, sure. I'm now replying back. So I'm now replying back to the message that just come through the DM. And now that's going to engage the AI, that's going to engage the ecosystem. Now that's going to start the conversation and we can start to converse with them and move them into a client from this point onwards. So as you can see, it's a very, very, very simple process from, going from, there you go. Usually a little delay. Awesome. What are you looking to make some changes to your health and fitness goal? Is there something else I can help you with? Right? So now they're in our ecosystem. Now they're in our conversing stage. We can now converse with them, and then they'll ultimately get them booked into an appointment.
Makes sense.
And
In your opinion, do you feel like do you feel
yeah,
like keeping the copy and the conversation very simple and humanized is better versus formal language that's a bit
absolutely.
too professional?
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing I always say to my guys when I set this up for them is that how would you converse with your leads? If someone comes in, what do you say when they opt in? What is your reply? How do you reply to them? And this you want to keep that conversation or keep that message very conversational, you know, and that is how people want to converse with you because the more conversational you can make these messaging, the easier it is for them to react. And a really interesting one that we've done a few weeks back was a reactivation, and this is to a very very old database, and we had an AI off the back of it, and this is the only message we sent out and for a whole database of 5,000. It's like, hey, this is Tom from XYZ business. Just checking, is this still Paulson? That's it. That's all we did. Just a question: is this Paulson's number? We have 4 or 5 variations, and off the back of that message, we booked 65 appointments.
Yeah, I think it's funny when a lot of people they jump the gun and explain the offer before even agreeing, right? I get text messages
Yeah,
all the time or emails and they're talking about what
Yep.
they can do for you, which is of course valuable, but the timing of
Sure.
that matters a lot. Like I'm not like I want to be able to date someone, but you're asking me for marriage out the gate, you know?
Yeah, 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 so true, so true. And like you just said then, like you sometimes you just sort of keep that message really, really simple. You don't have to overcomplicate it. And I think that that messaging of "Thank you for opting in, our team will get back to you as soon as possible," that just kind of like really like you just don't even do that anymore. Just because it doesn't really work. And people look at that and go, "Yeah, that's an automatic message." Whereas like if a message comes back and if I opt into something and I've fallen for it a couple of times myself, it was like, oh, this is really good. Like I'll opt into something and it's like, hey, is this Jackson? Yeah, it is. And now the conversation starts, right? And prior to that is like, like a message would say, hey, this is a business, XYZ business. Our team will get in touch with you soon and whatever. Like, but it's just those simple messaging up front. And I think I want to add to it here is that your goal is to get engagement within the first 10 minutes if you can. If you
Yeah.
can, great. And then you want to get it within that first few hours or within a 24-hour period. If you can get that lead engaging with you, you're going to be seeing massive change in the way you convert your clients. Everyone we've spoken to, that's been the biggest shift.
Yeah. And the other component of it is, from what I know, when you look at life cycle marketing of that lead altogether, even though we're engaging on socials with an AI agent and workflow, there's still opportunities to email market to them later. You can
Yeah,
text them, you can call them, you can have a omnipresent marketing component later on as you build the
exactly.
relationship.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a very key point there. So don't think this is just one, like this is one only thing you need to do. This is part of your whole entire marketing repertoire you can actually pull on. Just one thing you can do that you can do really well, and then couples exceptionally well when you start doing that email marketing, lead gen, and then video views. Is you couple all those things into one big system. But then you got on the back of it, you just got the AI agent to engage with those leads quickly. And I think that's the key takeaway here is that automation has been around for a long time. What is different is that the AI agent is allowing that engagement to be immediate. People are able to now respond to these leads the moment they are available and the moment they are able to engage with you. Because otherwise, it becomes a bit of a tagging process where they'll message you back, business owner is busy, you message them back 30 minutes later, they're busy, and then that becomes this back and forth. You just like, you never catch them. Whereas they're answering you, respond back. And we know that no matter how good you are as a business owner, you're not going to be able to get to those leads 100% of the time because you've got other things you need to do. Even you have a team member, even they cannot do that because they're probably managing multiple tasks, whereas AI will always be there, always going to be able to answer them, and we'll position them in a way that we are part of the team. We'll put you in touch with our expert, and they'll be able to go through more details with you. So we don't try to position AI as someone who is an expert and trying to sell you into a service. Like we're here to bridge the gap. We want to move them into an interested client into more interested by talking to someone who's more of an expert in the team.
I love that. Those of you that are watching live, give us the letters AI or comment the word AI in the comments if you are starting to take nuggets out of this conversation between Jackson and I, and you have some ideas of where you can implement a couple of cool things. Jackson, as we kind of close out, what are
Mm.
some final thoughts? I don't know if you're done with the slides or not, but either
Yeah.
way, what are some final thoughts you have around, leveraging high level AI in respect to social media, commenting and DMs and kind of an interactive kind of a world?
I think if you haven't implemented anything like this in the past, I think I want to encourage you to dive into it. And within high level system, and like I said before, it's an all-in-one solution that allows you to not only capture, engage with the leads on comments, and all these other things, and then you couple that with a native AI agent that allows you to be engaging with them and then booking into a native high level calendar. It's a win. Like it's you. it cannot get a better solution to have that as part of your I guess arsenal of marketing tool to make sure that you have the comments, you have the engagement, you got the audience. Now you got the ability to have someone that can answer, an AI agent that can answer these comments 24/7 and then book it into a calendar qualified and usually going to convert a lot better than a cold traffic that have not had any engagement. So that is what I'll say. If you haven't done it, definitely dive into it. I think you need to just really investigate. And if you haven't, if you haven't, if you've done it and look at ways to optimize the AI agent so you can get better conversion and looking at some of the key metrics in there to ensure you get a better reply rate, changing the messaging. You do have to think differently in the way you build an automation in with a high level automation with an AI versus just building a pure automation because your automation is outbound only. Want to prompt a response into your system, whereas a automation with an AI agent is about how do I message or create an automation to prompt a reply. And I think that's one thing I'll say that if you want to be building automations, they're different the way you build it because the way I built automation in the past without an AI agent is very different to how I build it now with an automation coupled with an AI agent.
Hmm. That's brilliant, Jackson. For those of you that are watching, how can they find you? What are some resources that you might have that they can just engage with?
Yeah, look, reach. You can always find me on Facebook, Jackson Chen. Find me, DM me. I'm more than happy to have a chat with you. And one of the things on my slides, I'm more than happy for guys to reach out to me. I am always about giving back. What High Level has done for my business has been incredible over the last 5 years. Those guys were starting out. I have a link. I think I'm sure you can post it somewhere, Paulson. Like they can jump on a call with me. I'm happy to do a 30 minutes with them just to go through their business, go through a bit of audit, and to see where they're at, and help them to see what the next step may be. More than happy to do that.
Amazing.
And what you saw in the snapshot, I'll give you those as well too, as part of the part of those people who want to give High Level a go and making sure I include all those resources for them. So give them a bit of a kickstart to help them to go to the next step.
I love it. Yes, so jump into a trial as part of this masterclass. Jackson will provide the snapshot resources and additional things if you do jump into it. I mean, you do have to have a high level account to use the snapshot, regardless of whichever one
That's right.
you end up getting or downloading. But either way, Jackson, thanks for saying yes. I know it's late hours for you in Australia, so we appreciate your patience. I'm excited for what you're going to bring to the community over the next couple of months.
Yeah, pleasure. Bit of pleasure. Thanks, Paulson.
Okay, bye for now.